Good evening and welcome back. I got a special show lined up for you guys today. Here with me right now, I have Carla from This Weekend Trucking. How's it going, Carla?
It's actually Caroline. That's cool.
Caroline. Okay, sorry. Yeah,
That's all right.
yeah.
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here. We had a cool conversation on This Weekend Trucking, and a lot of people have seen that video. It's doing well.
Right. Yeah, I just checked up on it before stream, and yeah, I think it was right around getting close to 1,000 views. So yeah, it was more popular than I kind of expected it to be.
It was awesome.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm glad to have you on the channel today.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate it. And the topic of discussion today will be a little different. But first and foremost, I kind of wanted you to maybe talk a little bit about your channel. I know you guys have like a sister channel thing going on right now.
Yeah.
Or you have two channels. Is that the case?
Yeah. So This Week in Trucking, I started that show for our company Bobtail. So I've been working at Bobtail for a couple of years. It was the first time that I had ever been in the trucking industry. I had never really even considered doing anything in the trucking industry, didn't know anything about it. And when I started working at Bobtail, I found that the best way that we could possibly promote our brand and what we were trying to do is to provide really good information for trucking business owners.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
And I noticed you guys you're doing a great job of it. I thought the channel was, a lot larger than, and that's not a, thing. It doesn't matter one way or another. But yeah, I thought you guys were way larger than, just due to the quality of the information that you guys are putting out right now. So
I mean, I think one of the reasons that we might not be as, big, we've gotten comments all the time of like, why do you guys not have more subscribers? This is so good. But I think it's because we don't really buy into what maybe the algorithm wants us to produce.
Right.
So
right, yeah.
I think that's why, and I'd rather have 800 people who really appreciate the, quality of the content and the people that we bring on and the questions that we ask, rather than have 10,000 people who are, not really paying attention or only there because we said something really outrageous once.
Exactly.
So I noticed online, so when I got into the industry a couple of years ago, I started following a lot of channels, and there are a lot of really good channels out there, but there are a lot of really bad ones too. Yep. So that's why I wanted to start This Week in Trucking, and Gravier and I started it. At first, it was just us talking back and forth about the industry and what was going on that week. And now we're bringing on people, and we realized there are a lot of people talking about how much money they make for their business, like how much they're invoicing, but they're not talking about how much it costs to actually run their operation.
Correct.
And financially healthy trucking businesses is the reason, like if we don't have healthy trucking businesses, we don't have a business. Bobtail doesn't exist because we need people to be healthy financially in the long term for us to be able to grow our business the way we want to. So Bobtail, we do factoring and fleet cards.
Right. And that's kind of,
and we have to like the whole model is that people have to be invoicing. And if they can, if they can get better loads and better rates, that's better for us. It's better for them and it's better for us. Right. So we grow together in that model. And so it's just good for sort of the ecosystem of this industry to spread good information. And another thing that kind of inspired us too was Bobtail is also owner operated to a certain extent, right?
That's something new. I didn't.
The owners of the company and the main founders of the company, I should say. It's like a founder operated company, right? So it's the people who started the business run the business. And so they always have, as entrepreneurs themselves, they can connect. They've also run trucking businesses before in the past. So like they get it.
They're in tune with what's going on in the industry.
They're like, okay, what would we love to know about other businesses that do the same thing that we do? We want to know, what do other people do to hire? What do other people do to manage their finances? What do other people do to, market their business? And I think the same thing is true for trucking entrepreneurs. Like you want to know what's normal here, because there's so much information out there. There's so many different types of trucking businesses. Like what's normal? What should I expect to pay for insurance? Am I getting ripped off? Am I getting a good deal? Like it's impossible to know those things unless you can hear them from other people. And so I think a lot of people do have good mentors and good people in the industry, but if you don't already have access to that, I think it's really hard to figure out what to expect. And so that's why we started bringing people on like you to talk about your business and talk about, okay, what does it cost? So not only, yes, what are you bringing in, but what does it cost to run your business, and actually sharing those numbers. And we've gotten a lot of really good responses from it.
I've seen a few people, on the channel. So yeah, it's definitely.
And if there's anybody watching this that wants to come on, please email us, hello@bobtail.com. Email us and we'll
that's
get you on the show.
That's what I wanted to kind of touch on. So it's This Week in Trucking, and the second channel is Bobtail.
Bobtail. So that's the company that I work for. I'm the marketing manager at Bobtail. And we have a bunch of content on our Bobtail channel about how to start a trucking business and sort of the how-tos of your first couple of months in the industry.
Okay.
Those have done really well too, but now we're more focused on the podcast.
This week.
But like I said, Bobtail, we do financial services for trucking business owners, and our goal and mission is to eliminate inefficiencies in the supply chain. And that means bringing a level of transparency and fairness to financial services in this industry that really wasn't present before.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep. That makes sense. And then another question that I wanted to kind of ask you guys, what is the actual factoring rate with Bobtail?
Yeah. So our factoring rate depends on how big your business is. So when you sign up to factor with us, we'll ask you a bunch of questions. Our maximum rate is 3.5%. So you'll never pay more than 3.5%. But it goes down depending on how big your business is. If you've got 10 trucks, then that's going to be different. And that's true across most factoring companies, right? The important thing to recognize there is that it includes the entire service. So you're not paying any other fees on top of the factoring rate. Like you don't have to pay an invoicing fee. You don't have to pay, a annual fee or a setup fee or some companies might charge for like checking on business on the broker credits. We don't charge any extra fees. So it encompasses everything. And another big difference with Bobtail is that we proactively charge your customers for you. So some factoring companies, they'll just do the billing part. So they'll send the invoice to your customer, but they won't actually work that hard to get the money from them.
I got you.
And so they send it, and then it's on you to remind your customer to pay your factoring company. And that just doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't mean that you can just factor it and forget about it and we'll never need to get you involved again. No, because some brokers, they need to talk to the carrier about billing issues, right? That's normal. But it shouldn't be all on you to get your factoring company paid. Like your factoring company should be getting out there and collecting on those invoices.
Gotcha.
So that's also a big difference.
Is it common for factoring companies to have like hidden fees and things of that nature? It is.
Yeah. I was at, I knew this before, but I was at Mid-America Truck Show last year, and OIDA did a presentation on like how terrible factoring is for trucking businesses. And I was like, great. but the stuff that they were talking about was like, yep, you're right. Most factoring companies do that. Most factoring companies pull that stuff, and it's unfair. And it's in the best case, that kind of stuff is just sort of thoughtless, greedy. In the worst case, it's predatory.
Right. Yeah, we hear that a lot with a lot of the different services pertaining to the trucking industry.
Right.
So
like they'll get you signed up for their service, and you will be locked in from day one with at least 12 months, a lot of times 24 months.
Okay.
And you can't get out unless you like the termination fee. That's what they call it. So, okay, sure, you can get out of your factoring contract, but you have to pay us, $20,000.
Got it.
Right.
Makes
or you
sense.
have to, we've even seen you have to pay the value of the factoring contract. So the, 11 months that you have to go.
So pretty much buy yourself.
So you don't get anything out of it. Right. You'd have to buy yourself out of it, which is
right.
I don't think that's not abnormal in the business world, right? Like if you sign a contract, if you're a business and you're signing a contract with a supplier who's going to supply some kind of service or good to you, and then you want to get out of that contract, that sort of in the business world isn't unusual to have to pay the value of the contract. What's unusual is just sort of the nature of small trucking businesses, which is a lot of, solopreneurs.
Yeah.
These are not big companies, right? These are small fleets. It really doesn't cost, the reason that they do this is to lock you in. And I mean, what I have observed and what I've heard is that, they sign you onto this contract, this long-term contract right away from day one, especially if you're a new business, because they know that starting a trucking business is really hard.
Yeah.
And even lasting a year is an incredible feat. Like if you're able to be profitable within 12 months, you're doing well, right?
Right, especially
in any small business, and especially
Right.
now, and in any small business. And so they're just trying to like squeeze as much as they can out of you a lot of the time. That's not everybody, but just a lot of bad companies out there that are just trying to squeeze people. And so at Bobtail, they got started. I mean, we got started in factoring because of that. So our one of our founders owned a trucking company. He had 30 or 32 trucks at one point in his carrier
Large
business.
fleet.
Yeah.
Were those semis or box truck?
Semis.
Yeah.
Semis.
I was thinking it would
be he was in a factoring contract, and it was terrible customer service. They wouldn't answer calls, which is insane because your factoring company is controlling your billing. It's controlling your income.
Right.
So if they're not answering your phone calls, that is a problem.
Right.
But it was
the
terrible.
Turnaround time on you guys is a fact.
For payment?
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, we do same day pay.
Same day. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. If you send, so that's weekdays. If you're able to send all the paperwork in by 11 a.m.
11 a.m.
We can offer same day pay, and it's next business day pay if you send it in later. Yeah. So we do that, but it's possible that another company can say like, yeah, we'll do same day pay. Just sign this 12-month contract.
So it's no contract with you guys, correct? No.
We do have a contract, but you get 90 days without it first. So you get to
90 days to decide.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you sign in with us, and you have 90 days to decide whether or not you want to stay on with us for a full year.
1 year.
So
it's a 1 year contract.
So if at day 60 you're like, I don't like this, I want out, you're out. No
questions
fee, no nothing. You can leave.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then after that, it goes into a 12 months. So you finish out the 12 months. So you got 9 more months, and then you can give a notice after that period.
Okay. Yeah, I know of some situations.
You give us a notice. Some, that's another, trick that a lot of other factoring companies might use is like, yeah, you have to give notice and you have to like write a letter and send it to our location.
Right.
To do that, like a physical letter. It's just, I mean, they come up with like all of these ways to make it harder. And yeah, our founder who was at his carrier business was sick of seeing that and wanted to create a company that would do it right, that would do it in a fair, transparent way, and that could benefit us as a business, benefit the carriers as businesses.
Right. Makes sense. And how long have you guys been in the factoring business?
Since 2015. So we started off as Factor Spot, and now and rebranded to Bobtail. Yeah.
Okay. And then pertaining to like the fleet card, I know you're not going to go into all of the specifics of,
I'll go into any specifics you want.
I'm just wondering, like, what are the details? Is it a net 7? Is it a net 30? Kind of fill me in on,
Yeah. So Bobtail Zero MasterCard. We started our fleet card program a couple of years ago, and we have great fuel savings up to $2.14. I think now is the max per gallon.
Wow. And who do you guys work with? Is it like any fuel station? Is it certain?
We've got you can use Bobtail Zero MasterCard anywhere MasterCard is accepted. So anywhere you want to fuel, you can use it as long as MasterCard is accepted. Which I mean,
that's pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, like try to find a fuel station. Yeah, try to find a fuel station that doesn't accept MasterCard. It'd be hard to find one. But the discounts that we have, so we have different partners, TA, Speedway, Roadies, Maverick, all kinds, Casey's. There's a long list. Those are the ones that I have off the top of my head, but people can go to bobtail.com to check out all the places where we have discounts. Like I said, up to $2.14 a gallon. So that's big. We did the numbers we kind of redo the numbers every time we get new data coming in about all the discounts that our customers are getting. And we got, I think we calculated it out to be like $750. If you use our average discount, you can save $750 a month on diesel per truck.
Okay. And is that a net 7 or net 30?
So it's a weekly line of credit.
Weekly. And most fleet cars are. It's a weekly
line of credit. You sign up, you get, your credit limit. And it's just on auto pay. So you set up your bank account and it debits out of the account that you set up with.
Got you. And I'm just trying to peek at it was answered because Quentin is asking what is the name of the business or the website link.
Bobtail.com.
You just kind of touched on that.
If you go to bobtail.com and our fleet card application is right there, you can check it out, or you can just contact our team and we'll contact you back tomorrow. Somebody will be on the phone with you tomorrow to talk about it. Yeah, one of the big things about, and this is like another reason that we wanted to do a fleet card, because we saw all of these customers, all of our customers were saying, when are you going to get a fleet card? When are you going to get a fleet card? So we did conversations with our customers about, okay, what is it about fleet cards that you don't like, right? One was all the crazy extra fees. Like, again, I was talking to somebody at Matt's last year and they said, so sometimes I see that I can get, 15 cents a gallon off, but the transaction fee is so high that it's basically a
right.
So why does it matter that I get 10 or 15 cents off if I have to pay, a $5 or $10 transaction fee? Like, that's crazy. Okay, I might as well, just use my credit card and get the points.
Exactly. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So that makes sense. Yeah.
So those extra fees. So we got rid of transaction fees. There's no application fee. There's no transaction fee. There's no monthly or annual membership or anything like that. And the other thing was network. So a lot of fleet cards will only let you swipe at the places where they have
in-network fuel stations.
Right. Okay. So, all right, let's say you have, we have a partnership with a big truck stop brand. Cool. Mm-hmm. But, you know, those big truck stop brands, they've got a lot of other amenities. And so they can hike the prices on fuel, right? Because you're not just going there for fuel. You're going there for a shower. You're going there for parking. You're going there for
most truck
all kinds
stops
of
are more expensive.
Right? So they're more expensive, which makes sense. That's their business model, right? They're getting you in on all the other amenities, and then they can increase the price of fuel.
Exactly.
And so the, you know, mom and pop gas station or, you know, truck stop up the road, their diesel might be 50 cents cheaper or $1 cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And so, sure, maybe you're getting 30 cents off at this big truck stop brand, but the main price, you know, the best price is actually just up the road, and it's actually even cheaper, even if you don't have a discount. And so we wanted to give people flexibility. So like, no, we'll give you the information. So on our Fuel Finder app, you'll see all of the possible fueling stations, because we bring in the data from everyone, not just our partners. So you can see all of those fueling stations. Now, more often than not, our partners are going to have better deals, right?
Right.
Especially like Speedway has great NTA. We have great discounts. All our partners are giving awesome discounts. Mm-hmm. But in the case that it's not, you should be able to fuel where you're going to get the best price. Or, you know, if you want to fuel at the place that's getting a discount because there's other amenities, cool, you do you. But we give you that flexibility. And that's really key, especially for somebody who, you know, is a business owner and is, you know, thinking about this all the time. They're like, okay, where am I going to get the best deal? Sometimes you need the amenities, sometimes you don't. You should just be able to fuel wherever. And then you can see all of your fuel spend on one place, because we have a great app.
That's the good thing about
where you can see that. And then if you have multiple trucks, it's even better. You get even more perks, because you can see the fuel spend by truck, and you can see you're going to get notifications. If you have a couple of trucks, you're going to get notifications every time your drivers are fueling. Mm-hmm. That's really useful, because once you start adding trucks, that gets harder and harder to control.
And you want to be monitoring.
Fuel theft is a huge
owner operators
issue.
have issues.
Yeah, fuel theft is a huge issue.
Yeah, kind of what
it's not. Exactly. You know, it's not every driver is not going to do that. Most drivers won't.
At least one is.
People are.
One gonna try.
Yeah. Exactly. So you want that notification as soon as they fuel. All right, how much are they fueling? Does that make sense?
And you can put limits and things that nature on them as well.
Yeah. So you'll get information for each driver. So you can, you know, give a card to each driver or assign each card to a truck, and you get the detailed information on all of that. And another really cool feature that we added is IFTA reporting. So you get, I know a lot of times, you know, box truck businesses won't necessarily need IFTA if you're not, you know, going out of state.
Non-CDL won't.
But if you have CDL, you know, drivers and you're doing IFTA reporting, that's a pain. If you're using all different kinds of, you know, if you're using your credit card one day and a fleet card the other day,
you can't barely keep up.
Right. Like, oh, I want the discount for this one. And so I'm going to use my fleet card here and then my credit card. That's a mess. Then when it comes to just financial reporting, it's a mess. But when you come to IFTA, you have to get, you know, your list of the different states where you fuel.
And it's state by state. So
it's state by state. Yeah. So we give you that report automatically for free. You don't have to pay for it, which is like another fee that sometimes they add on top of it. It's like, oh, you want your IFTA report? You charge a fee. Okay. We don't do that.
And then the Fuel Finder app, is that exclusive to Bobtail, or is that something that's like just out there in general? Is that you guys?
Yeah, you can see. So if you go to our website, you can see sort of a preview of our Fuel Finder. So you can see where we have discounts. So, you know, in our, like any fleet card network, there might be a particular area where you go a lot. If we have a lot of discounts around there, that makes sense to have our fuel card. If you're in another area and there's, you know, no discounts or, you know, fueling stations around there and it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense. So we wanted to put that information out there on our website so that people can go see where it is that we have discounts and decide for themselves if it's a good deal for them or not. So you can see kind of a preview of it, but the actual app is exclusive to Bobtail fleet card users.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then with the fleet card, I know some you're able to use for other items. Is it just for fuel, or are you able to use it for maybe maintenance, supplies, things of that nature?
Yeah, we're working on that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of in the works. So I can't really
Okay.
Can't really say
Yeah, I don't
anything
want
else
you to.
about that. But for right now, it's just
Keep it clear.
just fuel. If you're signing
Right.
up today,
I
it's just fuel.
I got you. Because I have one that I'm almost able to use for almost anything, but there are some exclusions. So you just kind of got to be careful. But yeah, that is a good feature to have. Sometimes individuals will have breakdowns, things of that nature. That may arise, and they're able to charge it now. But with the 7 days, it's kind of like a quick turnaround. But all of them are usually, if you're not using a personal credit card, I think most of them are like a 7-day turnaround. So
yeah,
it makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, that really clears up a lot pertaining to bobtail, the factoring services. Like you said, it's 3.5%. It could be a lot less if you have a larger fleet.
Yeah,
that's
so
like
typically,
if
I give you a range, it's like 2 to 3.5%. Just depends on what kind of. It just depends on what kind of equipment you're running, how many trucks you have. It just depends on the volume that we're gonna get. I mean, you can imagine, like, from a business perspective, like if somebody has to process invoices, it doesn't necessarily take us like more effort to process 20 invoices versus 40 on a monthly basis, or like an invoice that's $500 versus an invoice that's $3,000, right? It's more or less the same amount of work to do that. So if you have higher value invoices and you have more of them, we can charge a lower rate, just because the effort to do that work, like the cost to us is not increasingly, it's not increasing with the same proportion.
Gotcha. So now if you're a box truck, but you kind of in the money and you're getting, higher invoices, that will still play into it. It could.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it just depends on how you present it. Like, especially if you already have evidence of that, like if you're coming from another factoring company, for example, just get your aging report and bring it to us and be like, hey, this is what I got. What can you offer me? Right.
Got you. Okay. That clears up pretty much everything with the fleet card, the factoring rate. And one other question that I wanted to kind of ask you before we, close everything up is, what's next for the channel, Bobtail This Week in Trucking? You guys got any big plans or anything of that nature?
We do. We're ambitious. We're always ambitious.
I see. Yeah. You guys working over there.
Yeah, we really are.
I need to take some notes from you guys, honestly. I ain't being funny.
Shout out to Amy. Shout out to Amy, who's our editor. She's awesome. And she's also our talent booker. So she, books all the guests.
Y'all been booking
she's working hard
in the industry. So
it's really
keep
cool.
Doing that. Keep doing that.
But yeah, we want to get more carriers on the show. We want to get more carriers. We want to see your numbers. We want to see how much are you coming in with every month? How many miles are you running? And then what's the cost of doing your business? And the more data that we can have on that, on everybody's business, then the more that people can start to establish what is normal, what is acceptable, right? What is an acceptable rate per mile, and in under what circumstances? You'll hear all the time people talk about, well, I won't do anything for less than this rate per mile. And that can be valid depending on what your cost structure is, right? If you've got a paid off truck and you have great safety scores and you came into the industry at a really good time and you've really done well, then you can probably afford to take a lower rate per mile because you're not paying off a truck. You probably have a decent amount that you're paying for insurance. You probably have a good rate there. And so you can kind of afford to take that hit if the market dips, right? But if you have a newer truck, you're financing it, you have higher insurance costs, well, then now you need to to stay above water. Now you have to get those higher rates and be more worried about that. So that's kind of like the message of the show is like, hey, look at all of these different business owners doing all of these things in different ways. There's more than one way to do this.
Exactly.
And we're not
and I'll say that as
shame
well.
anybody. We're not gonna say, sometimes I do see comments that are like, I can't believe he's taking this rate per mile. And I'm like, you know what? Like, that's not helpful. That's not a helpful comment. Like we're not, let's learn together.
But that's social media. You're going to always have.
That's true. I think vast majority of people are getting something out of it. And if you get something out of it and you're learning, that's all we want. We want people, we want to like kind of take the taboo out of this. Let's take the taboo off it. Let's take off the veil,
Exactly.
Blow the dust off and really get to the bottom of what makes this industry run. And I also think one of the things, we bring on other guests as well. So we don't just bring on carriers, but we bring on people who have brokerages, people who have different types of trucking businesses. So we're mainly focused, a lot of our carriers have been box truck owners, which is kind of cool. But our main, I would say most of our customers are semi trucks or some hot shot too. And so it's just cool to see what everybody is doing in the industry. Like there's so many different types of trucking. There's so many different ways to do it, commodities and different things to haul. And that's fun to learn about too. So if you're coming to our show and you're learning and you're enjoying it, definitely subscribe. And if it sounds like something that you're interested in, check us out. And again, if you're a carrier and you want to be on the show and you want to get into the weeds about your trucking business and what makes it financially sustainable, hit us up, hello@bobtail.com.
Definitely. Yep. Definitely go over and subscribe to This Week in Trucking if you have not done so already. And I've been tuned into a few different shows, on the channel. I'm gonna also go check out Bobtail as well. I haven't been there yet, but you guys also go over and subscribe to Bobtail. And it seems like the channel's gaining some traction and growing. I saw it.
Slowly but surely. And I think we have the right people there. Like most of the comments that I see are people who are just really getting a lot out of it. So that's what we're there for.
And I know you even gave me a couple pointers pertaining to content and the way you guys gang. So that was good information as well. But just keep up all of the great work over there. It's great conversations, great information, great content in general. So like I said, if you guys are not subscribed to This Week in Trucking, definitely go over and subscribe to the channel. If you have not hit the like button on this particular stream, do so now as well. Or if you catch it on the replay, hit the like button there as well. And look into the services with Bobtail. I think they're on to something over there pertaining to, the factoring and the fleet car and just a, breath of fresh air in the industry. So I appreciate you, Caroline, for
that
dropping by and, doing the stream. And, definitely. And, hopefully I could get back over. I know you're busy, but
absolutely,
sometime in the near future, we could work together. So I appreciate everybody for coming out on this short and straight to the point stream. And I'm not gonna make it any more long and drawn out than it needs to be. But once again, thanks, Caroline. I thank everybody for joining. And we're gonna close it out here. You guys have a great evening. And I plan to be back on live here soon. Shortly, we're back in the studio now. So everybody have a great evening and, stay safe out there. Appreciate you. Thanks, Carolyn.